I want to show you the technique of trimming or clipping out the pieces of a longer video that you want to use to build an excerpt video. So I began by watching this first clip about John Tanasov and noting down what was happening when. So we see that it begins, of course, with titles at 1 minute and 40 seconds. Question scene, and then I have 1 minute and 18, the name of, that can't be right, but I'll figure that out. And then more titles, and then John and Tanasov recollecting the calculating burden, and so on through this 10-minute or so video. This gives you something of a logical map to work with. So I want to pull out this section, the name of. So I'm going to go find it. I'm going to begin by looking at about 1 minute 18, and hopefully I got that time right, and this time is wrong, and it probably is. So I'm going to begin at 1:18 and look for what I'm looking for. So here's 1:10, 1:16, 1:18. So I'm going to begin here, and it looks like I'm pretty close, so I'm going to play.
The name of John Vest.
Oh, how about that? All right, so I need to come back a little bit, and I'm going to use this button, the previous frame, or Alt left arrow. So this is one frame at a time, so you don't want to do this very long, but it's very, very useful when you want to be completely precise. All right, so that's the very first frame of the books. And I'm going to note this down, 1:17:53, so I have a very precise placement. Okay, so I wrote that down, or you could have typed it on your log. I just noted it on a notepad next to my computer. Okay.
Name of John Vest.
Little bit too soon. We need to go back a bit further. So we were at 1:17:53. Right there. So I'm going to come back to at 1:17:40. Let me just note down that new location and click play.
Name of John Vest.
A little bit further, still not quite farther back again. So that was 1:17:40. Let's try 20.
The name of John Vest.
Okay, I think if I went back, I'd like to go back one frame more if I could, to give myself a little bit more. So that was 1:17:40. Let's see what happens here.
The name of John Vesevatanasov.
Oops, what did I do? Okay, 1:17:40, 33, a bit further. I'm going to try this. Let's see where we go. 1:17:20. I'm following these numbers right here.
The name of John Vest.
Perfect. 1:17:20 is where I want to be. So I'm watching the counter here, and I'm clicking the frame by frame back button. 1:17:20. That's what I want. Now I'm going to click this. This splits the clip into two clips at the current frame. And now all of this is titles and an earlier scene that I don't want. So I'm going to just delete it. Now we should go straight into the first piece I want to save.
The name of John Vesevatanasov was missing from the early books on electronic digital computing.
Okay. And the end, according to my log, is at 2:07. So but now, of course, my timing is off, so I'm going to go through it.
Those written before 1974, and with good cause. A patent had been issued to the developers of the ENIAC, the earliest World War II electronic digital computer. And the patent holders, John Mauchly and Presper Eckert, were presumed to be the inventors. But one book, Electronic Digital Systems, by R.K. Richards, published in 1966, was along with another viewpoint. The ancestry of all electronic digital systems appears to be traceable to the Atanasov Berry computer. Those words provided the beginning of a fascinating chain of events.
All right, so we're going to end the clip here. So once more, I'm going to move back frame by frame to take those titles off. And let's play from here. We're at 48 even. Here's our timing here. Okay, and now I just want to go back. I'm going to clip it at 48 even. Okay, clip. Now I want to make sure that the ending of it is pretty nice, so I'm going to just put my playhead just a few seconds before the end and play forward.
Those words provided the beginning of a fascinating chain of events.
All right, so I think that's going to be okay. We can always fade the audio a little to make it smoother. So now we need to find the next clip that I want to keep. And there's a piece in Dr. Atanasov's recollections about the burden of calculating that I want. And it is not too many seconds from here. So I'm going to play forward.
In 1935, I had a number of graduate students working in theoretical physics. Some of them were working on the theory of how one obtained approximate solutions of problems of theoretical physics, and some of them were doing actual calculations in various fields as a subject. These students were having a great deal of trouble doing the calculations themselves.
Okay, so I would like to do that. I'd like to stop it there. I've got to polish that, and then I want to take a little bit further. So I'm going to polish this cut first, and then I'll come back and pick up the beginning piece that I want.
It took me back to a day when I was working on my own thesis, and they were spending much more than a month doing actual calculations. This problem of calculations pressed me very hard. I tried to find
I need to find a place where the audio gives me enough breathing space to cut it. That's what I'm working on here.
solutions.
There, perfect. All right, so now let's come back. That should be a good cut. So I'm going to cut there. Now I want to find the beginning of the Iowa State. Looks like we're getting there, doesn't it? Perfect. And cut. And now I'm going to remove this. This is the titles of the video, and I'm just going to remove it. So now if I come all the way back to the beginning, we should have the introduction and then this piece. So let's go.
The name of John Vincent Atanasov was missing from the early books on electronic digital computing, those written before 1974, and with good cause. A patent had been issued to the developers of the ENIAC, the earliest World War II electronic digital computer, and the patent holders, John Mauchly and Presper Eckert, were presumed to be the inventors. But one book, Electronic Digital Systems, by R.K. Richards, published in 1966, was along with another viewpoint. The ancestry of all electronic digital systems appears to be traceable to the Atanasov Berry computer. Those words provided the beginning of a fascinating chain of events.
In 1935, I had a number of graduate students working in theoretical physics. Some of them were working on the theory of how one obtained approximate solutions of problems of theoretical physics, and some of them were doing actual calculations in various fields as a subject. These students were having a great deal of trouble doing the calculations themselves. It took me back to a day when I was working on my own thesis, and they were spending much more than a month doing actual calculations. This problem of calculations pressed me very hard. I tried to find various solutions.
So we've done two nice clippings out of a longer video. So I won't take you through the rest of the clippings. I'll make them sort of off camera, so to speak. And so just to recap, this is the button that you use to split the clip into two. These are the buttons that you move frame by frame, previous frame or left or next frame. And notice you can use Alt plus the left and right arrows. And finally, before I began, I made a narrative of what was in the video so that I would know what I was looking for.